Hey, so it's been quite a while since I've made a video about anything that I've been working on, so figure now is as good of time as any. So let's go ahead and look at what I've been working on the last couple of days. And that is, I've added in a procedural noise generator system into our pixel mapping software. So if you're not familiar with our pixel mapping software, it's a procedural pixel engine that uses a node-based effect system to create reusable effects, have a whole bunch of different parameters on them that you can vary to create all sorts of different looks. So a good example of that would be like if I let's go ahead and turn on go with random. So I'm just getting this random pixel effect happening. I can adjust this to like remove the fall off on this effect. I can adjust the rate and basically be able to get different looks from the same effect. It's kind of the whole idea of what we've got going on. So what I've done recently is added in noise generators. And noise generators allow you to create a lot more organic looking stuff than what we've been able to do in the past. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate some of those noise generators right now just so that you can see what I'm talking about. So let me turn this on, and we'll start with Perlin, because that's a very common noise generator. So as you can see, we have this noise texture that's going across the rig right now. And at first glance, you may think, oh, that's just video going on there, but it's actually more complicated than that. We have a bunch of different parameters that we can adjust on this to get different sorts of looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and step through some of this. So by adjusting the frequency on this, you get a more or less dense pattern. I can adjust how basically how many holes this winds up generating in the texture, as well as a bunch of other parameters to just kind of tweak this and get different looks out of it. In addition to that, I can control the rate, so this can go faster or slower. And since this is procedural, it means there's never any frame rate issues where, like, if you have a video clip that you're slowing down that runs at 30 frames per second and you slow it down to 2 frames per second, it's gonna look really choppy as it goes through that. Since this is procedural, it's just generating it at 30 frames per second all the time and creating all of the intermediate frames through this so that everything is always nice and smooth, which is one of the really nice things about working with procedural content. So in addition to those options, I can also control how this effect works in 3D space, because this pixel engine actually works in 3D space. You've got X, Y, and Z coordinates for every pixel. So if I, for instance, adjust the scaling on this, let's go ahead and just pull the Y scaling down. Now this becomes a completely different effect with just one little change of a control here. I can adjust X scaling, make it more dense, less dense. Can adjust it on the Z-axis as well. And in addition to that, I can also rotate. So we'll rotate this on the Z-axis. It's a little bit hard to see what's happening when you rotate it on the X and Y axes, because this is like a dense pattern that's happening in three-dimensional space. So as you're swinging around it, it feels a little bit weird. If I switch to checkerboard, it's actually a little bit easier to see what that rotation is doing as I'm moving this. Still a little bit hard to wrap your head around where that's actually going, but that's the general idea. So let me go back to our Perlin noise here. And in addition to scaling and rotating, we can also move this on X, Y, and Z coordinates. So if we want to position it or do something interesting like that, because this is being controlled through our lighting console, and each one of these panels is an individual fixture as far as the console is concerned, I can also do things like toss a effect on here, and now each one of the panels is being controlled, like its X and Y coordinates are being controlled separately, so you get more flexibility out of it than even you would just get with the pixel system by itself. So if that wasn't cool enough, I'll show you the rest of the noise generators that I added in, and then talk about some of the additional things that you can do through layering to make this even cooler. So the generators that I added were billow, and you'll notice that some of these look kind of similar to others. There are performance reasons to use one over the other, or certain looks you can get with one but not another. It's just for flexibility that some of the similar ones are included. But yeah, so we have billow, checkerboard, cylinder, purlin, ridged multi, simplex, Voronoi, and ripple. So lots of cool stuff there, and those are just the like a simple setup that I did just so that I could see what each one was supposed to look like. There's a lot of flexibility within each effect to create whatever you want to create. So let's go to ripple here, and we'll show just a really quick effect that I can put together that's looks fairly complex, but it's really simple to do in this. So let's go ahead and scale this so that it's a little bit wider here. And then I want it to not be quite so thin. And then let's go ahead and bring up the second layer. So when I add, we'll go with ridged multi on here. So when I add this, it's just going to add it on top of the previous effect by default. There are several different blending modes that I can use to combine these together. This first one is just highest takes precedence, so whatever pixel between these two channels has the highest value, that's what it's going to be output as. You can also do it additively, subtractively, or multiplicatively. So what we're going to do to look at this first is do it multiplicatively, because I think that that's one of the more interesting ways you can use this. So I'm going to take the blending mode and go ahead and pull it all the way to the right, which sets it to multiply. And you see, by doing that, now there are like parts of the first channel of this that get filtered out by the second channel, and it creates this really complex organic looking effect here. And then if I want to like take this a step further, I can also just go ahead and let's just remove the Y scaling or set the Y scaling to 0 on this. And now I've got these bars going across here that are really interesting, and without doing like a specific video clip to accomplish this would be kind of hard to make happen in some other solutions that would let you do this sort of thing. So it's really interesting what you can do with it. And just to show some of the other blending modes here, if I were to, I'm just going to set this to yellow and then change the blending mode to be subtractive. And now what it's doing is it's removing all of the yellow from the first channel based on what's running on the second channel. So if I go ahead and change the second channel to be a different effect, we get a completely different look out of this, and it really lets us do some complex things really quickly and easily. Lots of different looks we can get out of this, and because it's all node based, we can combine things together in really interesting ways to create new looks very easily. And in addition to that, from a software development perspective, adding new nodes in is extremely easy and takes us very little time. So it's been a really solid system. We've been using this for the past 9 months now, and it's worked really well for us, and it's just been a lot of fun to add new things into it and make it more powerful. So that's about all I've got. Got any questions, let me know, but thanks for watching.